let's take it back to the day that this happened. You're 22. You're logging. You're in the woods. Tell me what happened.
Well, it's just when you're done working hard physical labor, everybody's kind of jacked up, and there was a whole lot of chatter in the car. We're just talking away. It's starting to get dark. We just loaded up our equipment. We're headed out, and I looked up ahead, and I saw this kind of glow coming through the trees. First, I thought, no big deal. It was deer hunting season. Thought maybe there was some hunters camped up on the hill up there. Maybe light shining through a tent. It was still something really strange, kind of caught my eye. And one by one, the other guys in the crew started looking, but nobody said, "Oh my God, what's that?" or anything like that. It was just kind of an idle curiosity at first. But when we burst into the clearing where we could see the source of this glow, it was just, whoa, it was just mind-blowing instantly. I inexplicably got out of the truck and ran toward this thing, but I thought it was just going to take off, be gone in a flash. And
So when you say in the clearing, so are you driving on a dirt road?
yeah, it's a dirt road. Trees are real thick. This was a part of the contract we hadn't cut in yet, so trees were a lot thicker there, except for this clearing, and. We weren't the only ones that saw it, we found out later. Sheriff had on file people who were in the area that saw it, hunters and fishermen over there at Black Canyon Lake. And the movement that they described was what the crew described when it left. Of course, I didn't see that, but
what did they describe?
They described this glow rising up and streaking off, I believe they said, toward the northeast. There were some people that probably don't want to be public about it, but there was one guy who was just deer hunting, and he worked in military intelligence, and he stuck by what he and his wife saw. They were both together. And another guy that was at Black Canyon Lake, I won't mention any of those guys' names unless they chose to, but found out later that there was more official investigation that nobody talked about at the time. Immediately, though, this was all nonsense, and these guys murdered him. And even my oldest brother, he didn't believe him. He thought they had killed me. What we were doing with the brush that we cut was piling it up. There were piles that were in the clearing, so that the Forest Service could burn these piles, when the conditions were right, where it wouldn't spread. Wet conditions otherwise, but burning up this excess material to reduce the fire danger in the woods. And my oldest brother was tearing those piles apart. He was certain that my body was under there. And there were some pretty testy confrontations between him and my brother. And I think even my other brother, Dwayne, he initially took that approach, but he quickly became sure that they were telling the truth.
Now, what do you remember when you were going through your mind and you're trying? I mean, this is a story you've told so many times, and this is a story that's been turned into a film, which it's got to be very surreal. But when you look into your memories and you try to go back to that day.
Well, I don't try. It's something I try to block out, but it's unforgettable. And there's
what do you remember seeing when you ran into the clearing?
Well, the whole clearing was lit up with this weird glow. It's really hard for any artist or movie to try to duplicate the strange glow there was there. Made everything look really really pretty eerie, you know. And
Did it have a color to it?
it was kind of a golden color, but with a kind of a softness to it that it wasn't like beams of light shooting out. It was just this haze of light.
And did it seem to come from a specific part of the craft, or?
Most of the surface seemed to be glowing. There were darker areas that didn't give off light, but it was the parts that weren't glowing. It wasn't so hard, bright that you couldn't look at it, but it had a metallic look to it.
So what did the craft itself look like?
It was classic disc-shaped craft. The years later, there was a report. I can never remember names, but this guy was saying that he worked at Area 51, and they had something in there. He worked with the Tester Model Corporation to create a model of what he was describing. And that's actually the closest of any of the other descriptions I've seen. But I don't think these things have just one type of craft. I think there's many, many different shapes.
What makes you think that?
Well, personal experience. I try not to emphasize these other incidents, but I've seen the glowing sphere. I've seen the giant black triangle. Other craft that were a ball of light that you couldn't penetrate the light with your eyes. But
Now, this is after this experience.
I think the reason my brother Dwayne was persuaded more quickly than my brother Don was that he saw a craft in those woods. It was probably 10 miles from there while deer hunting. And it was kind of tic-tac shaped, and that's something that's been observed by, in military reports recently.
Yeah. So you see this thing, this disc-shaped craft,
Yeah.
and then what happens?
It started to move and started to get louder.
Louder.
Yeah. It was the guys in the truck heard it too. There was a low thunderous kind of a rumble that you actually sort of felt more than heard. And then there were other high-pitched frequencies. I was talking to a group of students from technical college, and they were really interested in what the sound was like to try to, compare that with theories that they had concerning what might be their propulsion. But the increase in volume, it suddenly got louder as it started to move. And, at the same time, the guys in the truck were screaming, "Get away from there, let's go, get back in the truck, let's go." And which would have been the smart thing to do. But as soon as it moved, it startled me, and I just ducked for cover. There was a log there. I got down behind this log, and they were screaming, "Let's go, let's go, let's go." And I didn't need to be told. I was just going to, stand up and run away. But see, when I jumped for cover, I went down and forward to reach where the log would hide me. And that brought me closer to it. So when I stood up, at that point, that was the closest I was to the object.
How close?
It was still like 8 or 10 feet away, from the surface of it. But that was when the energy discharge happened. I've worked on a number of theories about what might have happened. At the time, some of the other guys on the truck were thinking, immediately Steve said, it got him. Like, if you shot a deer, you got it,
Right.
And so it might not have been, as we assumed at first, that it was some kind of stun gun or something, but maybe just closing that gap allowed this energy to leap to ground through me. And
Like static electricity or something.
yeah, one thing that really weighs heavy in that direction is that when I found years later that they have satellites or something that record the number of lightning strikes, and that area has the highest frequency of lightning strikes of any place in the continental United States, except for the Everglades. The Everglades has a bit more, but that's over water. So that adds to another theory. What were they doing there?
So that area that has a high level of lightning strikes, do you think it makes sense that they're observing that, or is that why they were there? Do you have any thoughts about that?
Well, up until a few years ago, you walk down the rim road, and if you see a tree that's been hit by lightning, you can always see it. It's a strip of bark that's just blasted out of there, and it's all bare, and it can actually still survive the lightning strike, but it turns the sap to steam instantly, and it just explodes out the side of the tree, blows the bark off. But I was at a conference where this lady was. I said, "What's this?" And she says, "That's fulgurite." I said, "What's that?" And she says, "That's when lightning strikes the earth. You've got millions of volts, millions of degrees that form these crystals that aren't formed geologically." So I kind of leaned towards this theory that perhaps they were looking for fulgurite, for a very unique kind of crystal that would be formed by that kind of blast of energy. I'd never heard of fulgurite before.
Can you pull up an image of that, Jamie? I'd like to see what that looks like. I know tritonite is something that happens when they call it nuclear glass. It happens when there is either a nuclear explosion or when asteroid impacts hit the Earth. That's it right there.
Well, these crystals are supposed to have very special properties for people who are into crystal stuff, but
what does that say there, Jamie? This is what happens. That's what. Wow, that's wild.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. That's pretty wild. So it might be that they were looking for that. Well, who knows? It may be something that they use for energy. What is that? That's really when lightning struck Santa created that thing? That's wild. That is wild. Look at that. It looks like a tree coming out of the sand.
That's guessing that was wet sand.
Yeah.
But
yeah, well, it's right next to the beach. It must be wet. That is crazy. That's really wild, man.
Huang Yanqiu, an ordinary farmer. When he was 21 years old, his peaceful life was disrupted by 3 encounters with extraterrestrial beings. In the first 2 instances, he was unknowingly taken away from his hometown by 2 extraterrestrial individuals and brought to a distant, unfamiliar cities over 1,000 kilometers away. The most astonishing of these encounters was the third one, during which he was carried by these 2 extraterrestrial beings and flew 10,000 kilometers across China over a span of 9 days. These repeated and fantastical experiences turned Huang into a focal point of public attention. However, many years later, on a morning in the Huang's hometown, some people witnessed 2 ET flying in the sky with their own eyes. This incident provided tangible evidence that corroborated Huang's past experiences. This episode will explore the origins of the several supernatural events through a series of genuine evidence, including the timing of the incidents, testimonies from eyewitnesses, historical backgrounds, and research records following Huang's hypnosis. The aim is to provide viewers with insight into some of the hidden details of the aliens. Huang's first disappearance, awaking 1,000 kilometers away. On the night of July 27, 1977, after 10 p.m., the weather was oppressively hot. In Dongbeijiao village of Jiudian Township, Feixiang County, Handan City, Hebei Province, a villager named Huang Yanqiu had just gone to sleep, undressed for the night. However, he was abruptly awakened by a clamor. When he opened his eyes, he was stunned by the scene before him. He was lying on an unfamiliar street, wearing the clothes he had taken off before sleep. Towering buildings surrounded him, and neon lights flickered. Amidst his confusion, he noticed the city name Nanjing on a building across from him. Feeling frightened, he just wanted to return home. Lost and bewildered, tears welled up in his eyes. It was then that two individuals dressed in police uniforms appeared before him. They handed him a train ticket to Shanghai and informed him that there were shelters in Shanghai that could help him get home. About 5 hours later, he arrived in Shanghai. Following the instructions of the two officers he had encountered earlier, he located the station police office and was taken to the 9th shelter on Mengzi Road in Shanghai. Meanwhile, in Dongbeijiao village, Huang's family and fellow villagers were searching frantically for the missing Huang. A few days later, news of his disappearance reached Xinsai village, located 1 kilometer away. Xinsai village dispatched someone to deliver a telegram to Dongbeijiao village. According to the messenger, on the day after Huang's disappearance, which was the morning of July 28, Xinsai village received this urgent telegram from Shanghai. The content of the telegram was as follows: Xinsai, Huang Yanqiu, is being sheltered at the Mengzi Road shelter in Shanghai. Please come forward to claim him. As they couldn't find any information about Huang within Xinsai village, the telegram remained in the village for several days. Therefore, Dongbeijiao village immediately pulled together more than 200 yuan and sent 3 individuals to Shanghai to pick up Huang. Among them was a female villager named Liu Shishang. Why was Liu Shishang chosen to go retrieve Huang? Because she had a brother, Liu Qingtang, who was an officer in a Shanghai military unit. One day in August 1977, Huang finally returned home. However, his experience this time left behind some mysteries that were difficult to comprehend. First of all, the time when the Shanghai shelter sent the telegram was only 10 hours after Huang disappeared. In 1977, there was no high-speed train in China, and there were no planes in the area. Dongbeijiao village is 1,140 kilometers away from Shanghai. At that time, if a villager wanted to visit Shanghai, he first had to go to Handan City, 45 kilometers away, and then took a train for 22 hours to reach Shanghai. So, who sent this telegram so early? Huang said he didn't know about the telegram when he was in Shanghai. If someone had asked him the address of his home at that time, he could not have given the wrong answer. According to his guess, it might have been a telegram from the 2 policemen who gave him the train ticket. Huang's second disappearance, guided by 2 mysterious individuals, freely entering a military camp. The events were far from over. On the evening of September 8, 1977, a village assembly was held. During the middle of the assembly, the village leader instructed Huang and other young people to return home early to rest, so as not to delay the early morning task of delivering fertilizer to the arable land. Yet, that same night, Huang disappeared once again. Even more astonishingly, after he vanished from home, a row of characters appeared on the southern wall of his house. Shandong Province, Gao Dengmin, Gao Yanjing, rest assured. To this day, the person who carved the words remains unknown. On September 11th, after returning to his hometown once again, Huang recounted his second disappearance experience. On the night of September 8th, after a tiring day, Huang fell asleep in his bed. However, he woke up in the middle of the night to find himself lying on the plaza of Shanghai North Railway Station, more than 1,000 kilometers away. The plaza was sparsely populated. A bewildered Huang looked around, and the enormous clock on the plaza showed it was a little after 1 o'clock in the morning. He was filled with shock and fear. Suddenly, a heavy rain began to pour. Anxious, Huang started to cry. He suddenly remembered Liu Qingtang, a fellow military officer who sent someone to pick him up at the deportation station last time. Although they had only met briefly, Liu was the only familiar face in Shanghai. He knew Liu's home was in a military compound about 40 kilometers from the train station, but he had no idea how to get there. "Excuse me, are you Huang Yanqiu from Feishan County? Are you going to the military camp?" At that moment, two individuals in military uniforms approached him, claiming to be from the military and saying they were specially waiting for him at the orders of their superiors. They said they would take him to the military camp. Huang had no choice but to follow them. When he was to cross the Huangpu River, one of them gave him 4 cents and asked him to buy a ship ticket. However, throughout the entire journey, those two individuals didn't ride the same buses and ship with him. They simply appeared at each transfer point, guiding him along the way. After crossing the river, Huang switched to a bus and arrived at the outskirts of the military camp. At this time, the two men had already appeared at the gate of the military camp. At the entrance of the military camp, there were soldiers standing guard with rifles. As the three of them entered, the guard soldiers showed no reaction, as if they didn't see them. Guided by the two men, Huang arrived at the entrance of Liu Qingtang's home. Huang knocked on the door of Liu's house. At that moment, Liu Qingtang was still out attending a meeting and hadn't returned yet. His wife, Li Yuying, and his son, Liu Haisheng, received Huang instead. According to military discipline, when relatives and friends come to the camp to visit, they must show identification at the entrance, register in writing, and then we would come to the entrance to receive them before they can enter. If we don't come to the entrance to receive you, the guard soldiers at the gate won't let you in. How did you manage to get in? Li Yuying was quite surprised and couldn't help asking Huang about his direct arrival at their door. Huang replied, "I just followed the two military personnel and came in directly." Li Yuying was very concerned and immediately informed the responsible personnel in the military. They approached the guard soldier to inquire about the situation, but both the guards at the gate and the communication office claimed they hadn't seen Huang and the others entered. Was Huang dropped from the sky then? With an unclear background and having entered the military camp without registration, Huang's actions stirred the entire camp. The military sent a telegram to Dongbeijiao village, inquiring about Huang's identity. Dongbeijiao village promptly replied to the telegram, stating that Huang is not a bad person. The next day, Liu Haisheng used a jeep to drive Huang to Shanghai railway station, where he purchased a return ticket for him. On September 11th, Huang returned to his hometown. Huang's second disappearance once again sparked people's suspicions, and the stories about it became increasingly fantastical, taking on a legendary and mythical hue. Unable to bear the pressure of various rumors, his fiancée left him. Huang's third mysterious disappearance, being carried on the back of the two men and flying 10,000 kilometers, visiting 9 major cities in 9 days. Just on the 9th day after Huang's return home, which was September 20th, he disappeared once again. This disappearance was the most extraordinary one, as he was in the company of the two individuals for 9 days. On September 20th, after dinner, Huang left his home for errands and returned after 10 o'clock at night. Just as he entered the courtyard, he suddenly felt dizzy and lightheaded, and he lost consciousness instantly. When he woke up, he found himself in a hotel room with the two police officers sitting by his bedside. At that moment, the two individuals said to him, "We are both from Shandong." I'm Gao Dengmin, and he's Gao Yanjing. Don't be afraid. We brought you out this time to show you the scenery of several cities. They also told Huang that they were in Lanzhou City, which was 1,000 kilometers away from his hometown. They informed him that the polices he encountered in Nanjing and the soldiers who took him to the Shanghai military camp were them too. They had arranged his previous 2 disappearances as well. This time, they were taking him out to visit 9 major cities over the course of 9 days. On September 21st, after Huang having dinner prepared by the 2 individuals, they 3 changed into yellow military uniforms. They went to the balcony of the room, where one of them carried Huang on their back, while the other positioned themselves beside them. Together, they soared into the sky in the direction of Beijing. Covering a distance of 1,200 kilometers, they arrived in just 1 hour. In Beijing, Huang experienced an extraordinary sequence of events. Without purchasing tickets, all 3 of them managed to enter a theater and watch a play, completely unnoticed by the ushers. Later, they flew to Tiananmen Square, where the 2 individuals provided Huang with a brief introduction to the surroundings. After approximately 10 minutes, Huang followed them away from the square and entered a nearby hotel. As China did not have national identity cards at the time, the 2 individuals used a provincial introduction letter to register for their stay at the hotel. On the evening of September 22nd, the 3 of them flew to Tianjin, and as usual, they arrived within an hour. Once again, right under the noses of the ticket inspectors, they entered a cinema without tickets and watched a movie. Their next destination was Harbin. In Harbin, after wandering around a department store, they proceeded to Changchun in the evening. On September 24th, they flew to Shenyang. On September 25th, the 3 of them arrived in Fuzhou. On September 26th, they reached Nanjing. On September 27th, during China's Mid-Autumn Festival, they arrived in Shen. On the evening of September 27th, they returned once again to Lanzhou. On the evening of September 28th, after Huang fell asleep, he was brought back to his home under the jujube tree. In a hypnotized state, Huang revealed some details about his time with the 2 flying individuals. Huang mentioned that these 2 individuals were brothers and looked fairly similar to regular people. However, what left the deepest impression on him was that their eyes were much larger than those of ordinary individuals. Huang had asked them why they carried him while flying. They told him that they were just taking him out to see things, and Huang didn't need to know anything else. He was carried by the 2 individuals while flying. The person carrying him had a soft back and emitted body warmth. They were flying forward while lying face down, with their limbs not moving. He felt that the flying speed wasn't too fast. He didn't experience any discomfort and felt quite relaxed. They didn't fly very high, maintaining a distance of about 3 to 4 meters from objects on the ground. They generally didn't pause during the flight. Despite the varying distances between cities, they all took around an hour to reach. The 2 individuals understood the local dialects in various places. When registered the hotels, they always had the introduction letters ready. Upon arriving in a new location, one of them stayed with him while the other went to an unknown place to retrieve 3 sets of military uniforms for them to wear. When departing, they would take off the uniforms and send them back to the same mysterious location. During the day, Huang generally slept in the hotel, and at night, he was carried while flying for sightseeing. The amount of money they had was just enough. Later on, they no longer needed to spend money on food and lodging. Sometimes I felt very anxious, but I knew that running away wouldn't help. The 2 of them took turns watching over me. They even said, "Once we're done traveling, we'll let you go home," Huang recalled. Looking at the journey covered by Huang and his 2 companions, they traveled a distance of 10,000 kilometers, spanning across much of China. But since then, Huang had never disappeared again, and he had never seen those two mysterious figures again. At this point, many people might be wondering whether the two enigmatic figures accompanying Huang on his journey were extraterrestrial beings. Are there any other pieces of evidence to support Huang's experiences? Huang's disappearance case alarmed the local government and public security authorities. According to Huang's account, he would encounter two mysterious individuals who introduced themselves as Gao Dengman and Gao Yanjun every time he was abducted. Who were they? How could they carry out aerial flights with someone on their backs and casually pass through sentries to enter military camps? Based on Huang's recollections, renowned forensic sketch experts in China have depicted portraits of the two individuals. Researchers conducted investigations based on this information, but ultimately, they couldn't locate Gao Dengman and Gao Yanjing, nor could they find any evidence confirming the existence of these two individuals. As a result, the investigators shifted their focus towards the people Huang encountered after each disappearance. Perhaps they could provide evidence supporting Huang's extraordinary experiences. Verified information showed that on the second day of Huang's first disappearance, Xinsai village did indeed receive a telegram from Shanghai. For Huang's second disappearance, a detailed investigation was conducted by the military, and a report was submitted to the Handan Municipal Committee. Relevant records have been archived. Regarding Huang's third disappearance, he provided the weather conditions of the 9 major cities he passed through their journey. Upon comparing this information with data from the China National Meteorological Center, the details matched. Next, let's take another look at the investigation of the relevant witnesses. Huang Incident Witness 1, Liu Qingtang. Liu Qingtang was formerly the logistics director of the military unit in Shanghai. He informed the investigators about 2 occasions in 1977 when Huang visited his home. He said, in mid-September 1977, my sister Liu Shishang and 2 other villagers from Dongbei Gao village, Hebei province, visited my house. She told me that they came here in order to pick up Huang from the Mongxi Road shelter. She asked for my assistance. I then arranged for Deputy Logistics Director Lu Zhengsh to use a military vehicle to go to the Mongxi Road shelter and bring Huang to my home. I had a conversation with Huang and found him to be a simple and honest farmer. The next day, I had Deputy Minister Lu Zhengsh escort Huang, my sister, and the villagers back to their hometown by train. Regarding Huang's second visit to his home, Liu Qingtang said, at that time, I was attending a meeting in Nanjing. It was my wife and son, Liu Haisheng, who received Huang. I find it very strange that Huang came to my house the second time. During his first visit, I had arranged for someone to pick him up and bring him to my house using a car. He wasn't aware of the specific address of my home. The journey from Shanghai North Railway Station to my military camp involves taking a bus and a boat, and it takes about an hour and a half, with a quite complex route that's not easy to find. Without knowing my exact address, how did he know which bus to take and which boat to board? Neither the guards at the military base entrance nor the communication room saw him. How did he manage to enter? Huang Incident Eyewitness 2, Liu Haisheng. Liu Haisheng is the son of Liu Qingtang. When questioned by investigators about the situation of Huang's second visit to his home, Liu recollected, I opened the door and saw Huang standing at the doorstep. There seemed to be a person in yellow military uniform behind him, but I didn't pay much attention at the time. That person didn't speak and might have left afterward. However, upon reflection, the military uniform that person wore was very strange, it didn't fit well, the hat was too big, and the clothes didn't look like they belonged to him. That person had large eyes. Based on the investigation, researchers concluded that the 2 mysterious figures Huang encountered were extraterrestrial beings. To gather more evidence and details, on December 14, 2002, researchers conducted a hypnosis session with Huang in Beijing. The participants in the hypnosis investigation included investigators Zhang Jingping and Ji Jianmen from the China UFO Association, along with Professor Wu, a renowned hypnosis expert from the Medical School of Peking University. During the 3 hypnosis sessions, Huang recounted his 3 encounters with extraterrestrial beings from 25 years ago. Apart from being more detailed, his descriptions were consistent with his previous accounts. However, unexpectedly, midway through the 3rd hypnosis session, Huang was suddenly awakened from the hypnotic state by Gao Dengmen, the extraterrestrial being who had carried him during the flight 25 years ago. Upon hearing Gao Dengmen's voice again after 25 years, Huang was extremely excited. After being awakened, Huang relayed the conversation he had with Gao Dengmen to the investigators Zhang and Ji. Gao Dengmen's first words to the hypnotized Huang were, "I am Gao Dengmen, you've come to Zhang's place now. Ask them not to question you anymore, you listen to me." Huang replied, "It was Zhang who asked me to come here." Gao continued, "The first and second segments of the hypnosis were relatively successful. Stop the 3rd segment of the hypnosis here, there's no need to proceed further. Apart from what happened in Beijing, don't talk about things that happen later. Keep my words in your heart, don't speak them out." Huang asked, "Zhang is right here in front of me. Can you make him see you? Can you provide some evidence about this matter to let the world know? Can you offer some evidence to prove to the world that it was you who carried me during the flight?" Gao responded, "Let Zhang research and find evidence on his own." Huang inquired further, "Can you stay in touch with Zhang? He has a mobile phone, telephone, and email address." Gao said, "Cannot stay in touch." Huang asked, "So how can we find you?" Gao replied, "I can find you, but you can't find me. Let Zhang gradually research it." Afterward, Huang was awakened by Gao, and the hypnosis was lifted. At this point, Huang's 3 mysterious disappearances in 1977 became known as the Huang Incident. Strictly speaking, the Huang Incident falls under the 5th type of contact, involving friendly interactions with extraterrestrial beings. Coincidentally, on the morning of February 17, 2008, in Huang's hometown of Feixiang County, many people witnessed 2 extraterrestrial beings flying in the sky. According to eyewitness Zhang Wenshang, on the morning of February 17, 2008, around 7 o'clock, he was taking a walk outside. As he was walking forward, he suddenly noticed 2 figures flying in the sky from the southeast towards the northwest. He quickly followed them. During this time, Zhang met Wang Xiangzi. Wang Xiangzi also saw the flying figures. They confirmed with each other, "The 2 figures flying above, they are humans, right?" Wang Xiangzi nodded and said, "No doubt, they're humans." It was at this moment that they met Gao Wamin. According to eyewitness Gao Wamin, at that moment, he saw 2 individuals floating and flying in the air. He was quite surprised and thought to himself, "Is technology so advanced now? Can people actually fly in the sky?" So, he shouted loudly to the 2 figures in the sky, "Hey, who are you guys? Are you flying something?" The 2 individuals didn't respond. They continued flying away. Gao Wamin described that the 2 flying individuals were approximately 1.7 meters tall, looked like ordinary people, and were dressed in blue clothing. In the same area, another occurrence of 2 extraterrestrial beings flying had provided strong corroborating evidence to the Huang incident. Thank you for watching.
Out to him and invited him to come to those events, and he politely declined and told us that it was made very clear to him and the other Apollo astronauts who witnessed this first event, where when we landed at the crater on the moon, the rim at the top of the crater was, quote, crowded with UFOs, craft that were up there, multiple of them, and that these were filmed. I know people personally who've seen that film. So we did go to the moon, but some of the footage, it doesn't make sense because the flag is moving. Now the reason for that, and this is where people say we didn't go to the moon, it was all hoax and filmed in a basement up in New York. The truth is we went, but during the lunar orbiter, going back before the Apollo mission, we actually were circling the Earth taking the first early digital photographs. And as you know from the testimony of Disclosure Project witness Carl Wolf, there were structures on the moon that were artificial. Some were newer and some were very ancient. And so they knew the covert programs, and these images were being downloaded to out here at Langley, not the CIA headquarters, Langley Air Force Base, to a compartmented operation run by the National Security Agency that was then sequestered away from the other NASA scientists. But the people running that project, the deep black people in those projects, knew that it was likely we were going to encounter something not of this world or a UFO when we landed. Therefore, they had filmed some footage that they could splice in if something started happening. So during the live transmission, if something started happening, there's a delay that went through this National Security Agency filter, and they could immediately, instantly put in. And that's why there's a couple frames where the American flag is moving. And so when they stepped out, of course, and we're approaching actually, before they even landed, they saw them. So they were already with this sort of pre-prepared film that looked very, very good, except for this one error. And so Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin know for a fact. Now, Neil Armstrong said, look, if I were to go forward and talk about what actually happened, I've been told, Neil Armstrong said this to us, that my wife, my children, and my grandchildren would all be killed, that they would take us out somehow, some terrible accident. And he says, I'm not going to talk about it. Now, Buzz Aldrin has just basically, he sort of had a nervous breakdown after this and was actually at an Air Force facility. I know a man that was there with him, and he confided that this is also what happened. I also know Buzz Aldrin's sister, who pulled me aside and says, yes, you're absolutely right, that is what happened, but it's not my job to out Buzz Aldrin on this. If he's ready and he's able and allowed, he will speak about it. But you have to understand, enormous pressure was put on these men never to speak about what actually happened.
It was even said that piloted flights to the moon might be banned. Investigators are especially interested in ancient structures resembling partially destroyed cities. Photos reveal an astonishingly regular geometry of square and rectangular constructions. They resemble our cities seen from the height of 5 to 8 kilometers. A mission control specialist commented on the pictures. Our guys observed ruins of the lunar cities, transparent pyramids, domes, and God knows what else, which are currently hidden deep inside the NASA safes, and felt like Robinson Crusoe when he suddenly came across prints of bare feet on the sand of the desert island. What do geologists and scientists say after studying the pictures of lunar cities and other anomalous objects? They say that such objects can't be natural formations. We should admit, they are artificial, especially the domes and pyramids. People were extremely surprised why the materials hadn't been presented to the public earlier. NASA specialists answered, it was difficult to forecast the reaction of people to information that some creatures had been or still are on the moon. In addition, there were some other reasons to it, which were beyond the control of NASA. Astronaut Mitchell answered the question about his feelings after his successful return. My neck still aches as I had to constantly turn my head around because we felt we were not alone there. We had no choice but to pray.
Attempted to put a nuclear weapon on the moon and explode it for scientific measurements and other things, which was not acceptable to the extraterrestrials.
And what happened?
They destroyed the weapon before it got to the moon. The idea of any explosion in space by any Earth government was not acceptable to the extraterrestrials, and that has been demonstrated over and over.
Dedrickson is one of the hundreds of whistleblowers with verified, credible, and impressive backgrounds to speak up about an extraterrestrial presence. In that same interview, he went on to state that a spacecraft went to the rescue of Apollo 13, and they accompanied Apollo 13 on their voyage around the moon back to Earth. And on 2 occasions, they thought they might have to transfer the crew to their spacecraft, but they saw them safely back to Earth. This may explain why several astronauts have also been quite outspoken about an extraterrestrial presence, like Edgar Mitchell, Brian O'Leary, Story Musgrave, Gordon Cooper, and many others.
Now, one of the things that Neil Armstrong was overheard saying, and this was reported in Timothy Good's book, Above Top Secret, is that Neil Armstrong stated that we were essentially warned off the moon. That, in other words, these civilizations did not want us going to other moons or planets to colonize them with the consciousness of nationalism and the Cold War. Because remember, the Apollo project was really a proxy for the Cold War. The United States was in a complete panic when Sputnik overtook our space program, the Soviets. And so the race to the moon was part of, and always was part of, the military competition between 2 huge superpowers, the old Soviet Union and the United States of America. And so when we went there, but we went there not as a peaceful world civilization, but as a competing Cold War effort that were armed with thousands of thermonuclear weapons, hydrogen bombs, pointed at each other. That was not the consciousness that the ETs want to see us going into space with. They want us going into space with the consciousness of peace and cooperation, not militarism and war. So that's sort of your, let's say if there's an entry ticket to space exploration, that's the main one. And we haven't quite reached that point, have we?
In 1969, in the late 50s and 60s, the Strategic Air Command had an operation called Chrome Dome. They launched B-52s from SAC, or Strategic Air Command bases, from around the world into the skies with nuclear weapons. And they were up there 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And the object was to be close enough to the Soviet Union or to China to get the first strike in. And so there's missions being launched from all the different SAC bases and even some satellite bases around the world. This particular mission originated from K.I. Sawyer Air Force Base in Michigan. The pilot had a B-52, a B-52H model. The serial number was 60-0058. He remembered the serial number. It was his plane. He took off. He had 4 Mark 28 nuclear weapons, 1 megaton each, and his mission was to fly in a certain configuration near the Arctic Circle. And he was to do this for a 12-hour period. There was a relief crew in the craft with him, and they would be refueled, I think, 2 or 3 times during this mission. As they took off, they flew towards their first waypoint, which was near Hudson Bay. There's 2 decks to a B-52. The pilot and the co-pilot sits up in the upper deck. In the lower deck is the flight engineer, the electronic warfare officer, or the one that launches the nuclear weapons, and a gunner. Now, the gunner in the old days would be in the back of the aircraft, but the newer versions had the gunner sitting down in the lower area of the aircraft. The flight engineer radioed that there was an intruder on the aircraft. The pilot told the co-pilot, go down and figure out what's going on down there. And so the co-pilot went down. Now, remember, every single crew member on a B-52 is armed with a .38 caliber revolver for survival purposes and any other reasons. The co-pilot went down, confronted the flight engineer, and the flight engineer pointed towards a walkway or crawl space between the flight engineer area and the Bombay area. And so the co-pilot looked in there and saw this entity. He called it an entity. It was a funny-shaped humanoid with large jowls, large eyes, and protrusions on the top of its head in a silvery suit. holding some kind of device in one hand and a ball in the other hand. If I was confronted at 45,000 feet with something like that, I don't know what I would even think or what I would do.
That's a hard call.
It was a hard call, but the pilot decided he was going to take out whatever entity. At first they thought it was a stowaway. Somebody got aboard our craft, penetrated security, and was going to disrupt our mission.
Right.
So what he did was he pulled out his .38 and shot this thing twice. It fell down in the bomb bay. Now, the bomb bay doors are shut. The pilot had immediately dropped to another altitude, fearing that something was going to happen in the bomb bay. Now, that just took that aircraft out of mission. They couldn't. They had to land. The closest base to land was a Goose Bay Air Base in Labrador. So they immediately radioed, sending flash messages to Goose Bay and to their base at K.I. Sawyer, and they ended up landing at Labrador. Now, when they landed at Labrador, Air Force Security Police and Canadian Security Forces arrived. They weren't sure exactly how to get this thing out of the bomb bay, so they figured they'd just open the bomb bay doors slowly, which they could do in the H model. In the other models, they just
Popped open.
Yeah, popped open, the B, C, and D model. So they opened it, and this thing falls on the tarmac. It's a humanoid of something, but it was dead. There's no life functions to it, according to the colonel that was telling us the story. So medical personnel came, Canadian medical, it's a Canadian Forces base. Canadian Forces medics came out, put this thing in the body bag, and took it into the infirmary or some other place. And now he had to decide, and SAC had to decide, what do we do from here?
Right.
I mean, we just killed an alien on board our aircraft, and this is the message, and he told us verbatim, this is the message I sent. We just killed an alien. I don't know how he got aboard. It was an intruder. We killed it, and now what do we do? SAC didn't have an answer to him. He said, maintain crew rest there, and now to maintain crew rest on a plane that's armed with four nuclear weapons, they had to stay in the aircraft because they had to guard it.
Right, they can't go anywhere.
They can't go anyplace. They can't leave the aircraft because they're the ones that are responsible for the aircraft and for those 4 nuclear weapons that are in the bomb bay door. So eventually they told them to take off and fly directly back to K.I. Sawyer. They did. They landed at K.I. Sawyer in northern Michigan, and they met with Air Force OSI, who took the whole crew into a building, questioned them individually, and said at the end, brought them all together and said to them, this Air Force OSI agent, he said he had a crew cut and he's been around a long time. You could just tell on his voice that this OSI agent's been around a long time. And the OSI agent told him, what you think happened over the Hudson Bay never happened. You didn't shoot anybody aboard that craft. There wasn't any extraterrestrial aboard that craft. You had oxygen problems, and you had hydraulic problems, and that's what happened. And that's why you landed at Goose Bay, and that's why you had to fly back here.
In the frigid expanse of Antarctica, the U.S. Navy asserts a noteworthy possibility: the presence of extraterrestrial beings. This remote, frozen continent, commonly perceived as an expansive ice sheet, could conceal secrets surpassing our imagination. Despite its barren appearance, Antarctica remains a mysterious realm, revealing perplexing discoveries to scientists and explorers. But could this frigid landscape be hiding extraterrestrial life? Join us as we delve into the U.S. Navy's terrifying claim aliens are hiding in Antarctica and the evidence that fuels this astonishing assertion. Exploring the Forbidden Continent. Antarctica, a region synonymous with extremes, stands as a testament to nature's unparalleled forces. It claims the title of the coldest, driest, and windiest place on our planet, creating an environment that challenges the very limits of human endurance. Covering an expansive 3.2564 million square miles, it proudly holds the distinction of being the fifth largest continent, a vast expanse dominated by ice and snow. Beneath this frozen facade lies a realm of enigmatic wonders that have captivated human curiosity for centuries. Antarctica conceals secrets that continue to elude our comprehensive understanding. One of the most captivating enigmas revolves around its presence on a map drawn in the 1500s, a time long before its official discovery in 1820. This particular map, known as the Peary Race Map, traces its origins to older source maps that date back to ancient times. The perplexing question emerges: how did the ancient cartographers possess knowledge of Antarctica's existence? What sights did they behold in this remote land that have remained concealed from modern eyes? Moreover, the uncanny precision with which they depicted Antarctica raises further intrigue, especially considering the absence of contemporary technological aids. The historical puzzle surrounding Antarctica's early cartographic representation has fueled speculation and debate among historians and scientists alike. The mystery persists, and the questions surrounding the ancient mapmakers' insights into Antarctica's existence may forever remain unanswered. Antarctica's vast expanse belies its meager population, a riddle stemming from its inhospitable terrain, despite its staggering size. With a population barely surpassing 10,000, predominantly comprised of scientists and researchers inhabiting transient bases, the continent remains starkly underpopulated. The hostile and unforgiving nature of Antarctica offers a poignant explanation for its sparse human presence. Enduring an average temperature of -56.2 degrees Fahrenheit, plunging to bone-chilling depths of -128.2 degrees Fahrenheit, this frozen realm stands as a testament to nature's extremes. Winds raging at speeds exceeding 186 miles per hour, and enduring snowstorms that can persist for weeks further compound the inhospitable environment. Its landscape, characterized by barren desolation, boasts minimal biodiversity, showcasing a stark absence of flora and fauna, save for the resilient penguins and seals. The colossal ice sheet blanketing 99% of the continent, towering up to 2.5 miles in thickness, houses a staggering 90% of Earth's total ice. The monumental significance of this ice sheet extends beyond its sheer mass. Should this icy expanse melt, it harbors the potential to dramatically reshape our world. A meltdown of Antarctica's ice would elevate sea levels by a staggering 60 meters, unleashing widespread flooding that threatens numerous coastal cities and islands, posing a global crisis of unprecedented proportions. The allure of Antarctica has beckoned countless explorers and adventurers, each driven by an insatiable curiosity to unravel its mysteries. Their endeavors have yielded varying outcomes, some triumphant, others futile, and tragically, some explorers never returned from their icy embrace. However, amidst these tales of discovery and loss, one chilling encounter stands as a testament to the enigmatic nature of this frozen land, an encounter that defies conventional understanding. This encounter involves a U.S. Navy flight engineer whose experience in Antarctica shattered preconceived notions about the continent. What he witnessed left him astounded, challenging the very fabric of our comprehension regarding this remote expanse. The nature of his encounter raises a multitude of questions. What did he see that invoked such a profound reaction? And how might this singular experience redefine our understanding of Antarctica, and by extension, humanity's future? The revelation of this extraordinary encounter promises to unravel an unprecedented narrative, one that could potentially reshape our perception of Antarctica, Brian's Antarctic confrontation with the unexplained. In January 2015, Linda Moulton Howe, an esteemed investigative reporter, received an extraordinary email that would unravel a tale of chilling intrigue. The sender, a retired naval flight engineer, sought anonymity under the pseudonym Brian driven by the haunting nature of the events he was about to disclose. Brian's history, shrouded in the bone-chilling secrets of Antarctica, spanned from 1983 until his retirement in 1997, a period steeped in the unforgiving landscapes of the icy continent. To substantiate his remarkable narrative, Brian provided Linda with irrefutable evidence: his DD-214 documents and the prestigious Antarctic Service Medal, awarded to him in 1984. These artifacts served as a testament to his unwavering commitment and his profound journey through the frozen expanse of Antarctica. As a flight engineer, he logged an impressive 4,000 hours soaring over the enigmatic continent, a role that exposed him to sights beyond the ordinary imagination. His station of duty, the McMurdo Station, nestled on the desolate southern peninsula of Ross Island, stood as a beacon of human endeavor amidst the stark, otherworldly beauty of Antarctica. This research station, initiated by the U.S. government in 1956, emerged as the largest of its kind on the continent, accommodating up to 1,200 residents amid its remote and mystifying surroundings. Brian's duty, alongside his crew, entailed perilous missions flying cargo and executing daring rescue operations in the treacherous Antarctic environment. Their annual deployments, commencing in late September and concluding at February's end, crafted a routine etched with the relentless challenges and stark allure of the frozen wilderness. However, this routine came to a halt with the squadron's decommissioning in 1999, marking the conclusion of an era fraught with secrets buried deep within the icy heart of Antarctica. As a pivotal member of the Antarctic Squadron expedition missions, Brian found himself entrenched in the routine of shuttling personnel across various Antarctic locations. Initially, his days seemed unremarkable, a typical existence for a naval flight engineer navigating the icy expanse. However, the ordinary facade soon gave way to a series of inexplicable and haunting events that would reshape Brian's perception of this desolate land. The saga began with the abrupt vanishing of a team of researchers working on a nearby mountain project. Dispatched to investigate, Brian and his team scoured the terrain, only to encounter a strange silence where the researchers once toiled. Amidst the pristine snow, a mysterious silver object, partially buried and inexplicable in origin, stood as the sole anomaly in the otherwise barren landscape, an enigma that defied comprehension. In a twist as inexplicable as the disappearance itself, the vanished researchers resurfaced at their camp a week later, reaching out to McMurdo for retrieval. Brian's crew, intimately familiar with the terrain, swiftly embarked on the rescue mission. However, upon arrival, an unnerving silence engulfed the atmosphere, as the once missing scientists refused communication with the crew, emanating an aura of palpable fear. Brian's aerial voyages across Antarctica, surpassing 300 flights to destinations including the South Pole, offered him a unique perspective. En route between McMurdo and the South Pole Trans-Antarctic mountain range, sprawled beneath the aircraft's flight path, visible from altitudes ranging between 25,000 to 35,000 feet during what the squadron termed severe clear weather conditions, a peculiar term denoting optimal visibility despite the harsh Antarctic elements. Brian's Antarctic tales of UFOs and forbidden caves. The Trans-Antarctic Mountains became the stage for a bewildering and inexplicable spectacle witnessed by Brian and his crew, an event that defied all conventional explanation. Their eyes bore witness to a fleet of round, silver objects moving with an otherworldly synchronization across the Antarctic skies. These enigmatic objects, darting in a peculiar formation from one peak to another, held Brian in awe. He vividly described the surreal dance of these entities, expressing, "They're doing the strangest thing. They're going like this. Peak in a group to this peak, in a group to this peak in a group, and then they'd all take off." The coordinated movements defied any known aerial logic, transcending the realm of terrestrial understanding. What sets this sighting apart from isolated conjecture or mere speculation is the fact that Brian's experience wasn't solitary. The presence of multiple witnesses eliminates the possibility of dismissing the event as an individual hallucination or trick of light. Instead, it cements the reality of an inexplicable phenomenon unfolding in the Antarctic skies. Brian's certainty about the extraterrestrial origin of these entities grew as he recounted to Howe that these sightings weren't isolated occurrences. Rather, they formed part of a recurring and perplexing pattern, fueling questions that defy conventional wisdom. The implications of these sightings are profound. Could these mysterious objects be evidence of extraterrestrial spacecraft? The story Brian shared about his experiences in Antarctica indeed paints a vivid picture of a series of puzzling and extraordinary events. Each occurrence seems like a fragment in a larger, enigmatic mosaic, offering glimpses into a world far removed from the ordinary. In one particular incident, Brian found himself involved in a rescue mission that appeared routine on the surface, but was surrounded by an air of mystery. This mission necessitated traversing a strictly prohibited no-fly zone, a decision made under the pressure of imminent danger and time constraints. As Brian embarked on this daring rescue, the situation took a chilling turn when his aircraft breached the boundaries of the no-fly zone, revealing a colossal cave entrance nestled within the ice. This yawning chasm, estimated to span a diameter of approximately 200 feet, exuded an intimidating presence that even the harsh Antarctic winds couldn't overshadow. However, the true sense of dread set in when all onboard equipment inexplicably ceased to function, leaving Brian and his team isolated in the face of an inexplicable occurrence. Upon their return to base following the successful medical recovery, they were met with an unexpected sight. Individuals in suits, unmistakably not part of the McMurdo community, but bearing the unmistakable air of authority from Washington, D.C. Their presence and subsequent actions raised profound questions. Why were these officials, thousands of miles away from their accustomed offices, present at McMurdo? The answer soon became evident when they sternly warned Brian and his team to refrain from flying over the mysterious cave entrance and to maintain absolute silence about its existence. The directive issued by these enigmatic figures was as chilling as the unforgiving Antarctic conditions themselves. Despite their efforts to silence eyewitnesses, the existence of the massive cavity in the Antarctic landscape remained an undeniable truth. Brian's account hints at the possibility that this hole might serve as an entrance to something, prompting the imagination to ponder its nature. Could it possibly be a gateway leading to an underground realm, an alien colony concealed by the U.S. government? The conventional perception of Antarctica as an unwelcoming and desolate expanse has been challenged by recent discoveries hinting at the potential existence of life beneath its formidable ice sheets. Researchers have uncovered a surprising oasis hidden beneath the thick layers of ice, a warm, conceivably habitable environment that defies conventional understanding of this frozen wilderness. This revelation unfolded near Mount Erebus, where a network of ice caves, forged by volcanic activity, has created an unexpected haven. Within these caverns, temperatures soar to a remarkable 77 degrees Fahrenheit, a stark contrast to the frigid exterior. The interplay between Antarctica's extreme cold and the volcanic heat has seemingly birthed this cozy sanctuary, nestled beneath the ice. The lead researcher from the Australian National University delved into these caves and made astonishing discoveries. Forensic analysis of the soil uncovered traces of DNA from algae, mosses, and small organisms. While no visible signs of plant or animal life were apparent within the caves at the time, the research team postulates that the favorable conditions might have fostered the evolution of entirely new species, possibly unique to this isolated environment. These findings propel contemplation toward the conceivable existence of alien life forms in Antarctica, a notion that evokes both excitement and trepidation. Brian's accounts, ranging from sightings of unidentified flying objects to inexplicable phenomena, including the monumental 200-foot-wide hole in the ice, all contribute to the speculation surrounding extraterrestrial life. The veil of secrecy imposed upon Brian and his team about their discovery of the colossal cavity further intensifies the intrigue. If the hole held no peculiarities, why would authorities go to such lengths to silence the pilots and their crew? Journey to the core of the Earth. Brian's encounters with the inexplicable in Antarctica find echoes in the experiences of another notable figure who explored the icy expanse, Admiral Richard Byrd, an esteemed leader in the American Navy and an explorer of great renown, wasn't just an amazing pilot, he was a trailblazer in exploring the freezing polar regions and figuring out how to handle the challenging logistics there. His incredible accomplishments earned him the Medal of Honor, the highest bravery award in the United States. His Arctic journey kicked off in 1924 when he took charge of a small naval aviation group as part of Commander D.B. McMillan's Arctic expedition to western Greenland. This marked the beginning of Byrd's breathtaking exploration into the icy lands up north. But what truly sets Byrd apart is the astonishing discovery he made during his expeditions, an incredible finding that shook up what we knew about our planet. Sadly, the authorities of his time didn't readily accept these groundbreaking discoveries, choosing instead to suppress them. Imagine the mystery and curiosity surrounding Byrd's hidden revelations. What could he have found that was so remarkable and controversial? Did his discoveries challenge what people already thought they knew about science or the world? These questions sit tantalizingly, waiting to be answered. Byrd's fascination with flying over icy landscapes began when he flew over the shining sea ice and grand glaciers of western Greenland. It was there that he first heard an intriguing rumor, a secret passage to the mysterious center of the Earth, nestled within the frozen heart of the South Pole. Captivated by this incredible idea, he set out on daring expeditions, skillfully navigating his planes toward the unexplored areas of the South Pole. But fate had other plans for him. In the year 1926, precisely on May 9th, an extraordinary feat unfolded when Byrd and his skilled pilot Floyd Bennett boldly declared themselves the first to conquer the daunting journey over the icy expanse of the North Pole. Their epic adventure commenced from Kings Bay, Pittsburgh, and Norway, taking flight in their reliable Fokker trimotor aircraft, enduring an astounding 15.5 hours in the skies. Along their route, they faced minor challenges, including an oil leak in one of the engines. However, undeterred by this setback, their determination remained unshaken as they pressed forward, driven by the sheer thrill of exploration. News of their triumphant achievement swiftly spread, prompting a nationwide celebration that hailed Byrd and Bennett as heroes of the nation. Their courage and daring captivated imaginations far and wide, and their unwavering resolve during this historic flight earned them the revered Congressional Medal of Honor, a testament to their extraordinary accomplishment. Despite overwhelming acclaim, some skepticism lingered regarding whether their aircraft had truly reached the elusive North Pole. Nevertheless, the impact of their audacious journey remained profound, sparking inspiration for generations of explorers and etching an unforgettable chapter in the annals of aviation and exploration. Previously, doubts had surfaced regarding the accuracy of their navigation and the veracity of their claims about Mount Sidley. In an era when many explorers relied on traditional methods, Byrd leveraged aeroplanes and modern tools during his expeditions to navigate safely through the rugged terrain. It was during one of these remarkable journeys that something truly awe-inspiring emerged, a colossal dormant volcano named Mount Sidley. This volcano stands as the largest of its kind in Antarctica and holds a special distinction among the renowned 7 summits of volcanic peaks worldwide. The remote and isolated location of Mount Sidley, far removed from human civilization, adds an extra allure, drawing adventurous mountaineers seeking extraordinary experiences. Its distant and untouched setting beckons those with a yearning to conquer unexplored territories and create remarkable memories amidst the pristine natural beauty that defines this unique landscape. Operation Deep Freeze. Admiral Richard E. Byrd's legacy is defined by a series of daring expeditions to Antarctica, each marked by remarkable accomplishments and a relentless pursuit of discovery. His inaugural journey from 1928 to 1930 established the base Little America on the Ross Ice Shelf, serving as a launching pad for aerial explorations that charted unexplored territories and revealed hidden mountain ranges. Undeterred by his initial success, Byrd embarked on a second expedition from 1933 to 1935, enduring solitary confinement for 5 challenging winter months at an advanced base. Byrd's insatiable thirst for exploration led to a third voyage from 1939 to 1941, named Little America 3, during which he discovered Western Island, adding to his list of achievements. However, it was his fourth and most ambitious endeavor, Operation High Jump, from 1946 to 1947, that showcased unparalleled dedication. With 13 ships and 4,000 personnel, it stood as the most extensive Antarctic expedition at the time, earning the moniker Operation Deep Freeze. Byrd's commitment to unraveling the enigmas of Antarctica was evident in the depth of effort invested in this monumental undertaking. In 1955 and 1956, Byrd orchestrated Operation Deep Freeze during the International Geophysical Year, making groundbreaking discoveries that significantly advanced our understanding of Antarctica. Yet, some of his most enthralling findings remained shrouded in secrecy until the discovery of his long-lost diary by his son. The diary, found in the possession of Tawani Wakawa Shush, led to the formation of the International Society for a Complete Earth, revealing revelations challenging established beliefs and sparking widespread intrigue. Byrd's journey to Antarctica took a mysterious turn in 1947 during Operation High Jump. Task Force 68 under his command set out on an epic journey from Norfolk, Virginia, fully equipped for exploration. However, after 2 months of mapping Antarctica, the mission abruptly halted, raising questions about the missing diary's significance. Speculation surrounds the motives behind Byrd's unexpected journey over the North Pole during an Antarctic expedition, suggesting unknown phenomena or uncharted territories may have beckoned, pushing him beyond designated boundaries. Enemy with amazing flying objects. In a mesmerizing journal entitled Flight Log Base Camp Arctic, Byrd chronicled his extraordinary odyssey to the Arctic. As he journeyed north, a mere few hours into the expedition, he stumbled upon a majestic range of mountains previously unseen by his eyes. These towering peaks stood as a testament to the hidden marvels of the polar region, injecting a sense of thrill into his expedition. Yet, Byrd's path took an unforeseen twist when he encountered perplexing issues with the magnetic and gyro compasses aboard his aircraft. Surprisingly, these crucial navigation instruments began to gyrate and wobble unpredictably. The researchers alongside him speculated that this erratic behavior might have been induced by the aircraft traversing over the North Pole itself, given their reference to the base camp in the Arctic and their trajectory northward. Merely a fortnight after Byrd's Arctic venture, Chilean newspapers reported an extraordinary and bewildering event involving him. They alleged that Byrd faced a different adversary, unearthly flying objects possessing inexplicable abilities. These objects could traverse vast distances and swiftly maneuver between the poles. A perilous skirmish ensued in the Weddell Sea, skirmish lasting around 20 minutes. The unidentified crafts emerged from the sea and engaged Byrd's team, resulting in numerous injuries and casualties. This occurrence added an element of mystique to Byrd's expedition, raising inquiries about unexplained phenomena within the polar domains. The intrepid explorers' encounters, both with the awe-inspiring natural landscapes and the enigmatic flying entities, added an even more exhilarating layer to his already extraordinary journey. Within his diary, Byrd chronicled an exceptional flight that deviated far from the ordinary. To his astonishment, he found himself soaring amidst a mysterious mountain range. Contrary to the anticipated icy and snow-covered vistas, he stumbled upon a vibrant and verdant expanse teeming with life. This remarkable discovery transpired during his February expedition into the depths of the Earth. While in flight, Byrd purportedly glimpsed a colossal creature known as a mammoth, an ancient and majestic beast believed to have long vanished. However, this proved just the commencement of his astounding encounter. As he ventured deeper into this captivating realm, he encountered even more extraordinary marvels that left him in a state of profound wonder. The intricacies of what he witnessed and experienced during this remarkable flight are sure to captivate and intrigue anyone with an adventurous spirit. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. Let's delve into the U.S. Navy's terrifying claim aliens are hiding in Antarctica. You see, explorers in Antarctica, captivated by its mysteries, often met triumph and tragedy. Among tales, A Navy engineer encounters challenges in the understanding of the land. Anonymous Brian revealed his Antarctic experiences in 2015 to Linda Moulton Howe, validated by official documents. Stationed at McMurdo, Brian flew missions, including one revealing strange disappearances and weird silver objects in the sky. During routine flights, Brian witnessed silver objects maneuvering over the transantarctic mountains. Coordinated movements defied explanation, witnessed by multiple crew members, hinting at an otherworldly presence. Brian, convinced of their extraterrestrial nature, revealed a no-fly zone breach unveiling a massive cave entrance. Officials' warnings about secrecy hinted at something significant, adding to Antarctica's mystique. Recent discoveries of warm ice caves near Mount Erebus, possibly fostering unique life, fuel speculation about extraterrestrial existence. Brian's encounters, from strange aerial sightings to the enormous cavity, contribute to the idea of hidden Antarctic life. The government's secrecy surrounding the cavity raises questions about what might lie beyond, prompting theories of underground colonies or undiscovered life forms. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Bird's enigmatic encounter with Agartha. The continuation of Bird's flight held an irresistible allure, drawing him toward an unfamiliar city, later unveiled as Agartha. However, the journey took an unexpected turn as his navigation instruments began to malfunction, sowing confusion and concern. The gyroscope swung wildly, rendering the plane's controls useless, a disorienting and unsettling experience for Bird and his crew. Amidst this confounding situation, something truly remarkable occurred. Disc-shaped aircraft, radiant and emblazoned with swastikas, appeared and commenced escorting Bird's plane towards Agartha. These unknown flying craft seemed to shield and direct them toward their destination. Upon landing, Bird and his radio team were greeted by tall, fair-haired beings who guided them out of the aircraft and into a meeting with a notable figure known as the Master. It was during this encounter that Bird learned he had entered the Arihani domain, a clandestine realm nestled deep within the Earth's interior. Intriguingly, the Arihani domain has remained concealed from the world, harboring numerous cryptic wonders and mysteries awaiting exploration. According to his diary, as they traversed over the pole, they entered a lush and verdant expanse that left him astounded. Additionally, he recounted witnessing a glistening city crafted from crystal-like materials, shimmering like a rainbow. He asserted that his aircraft was guided to land by disc-shaped flying entities, leading him into an expansive, cavernous area where he encountered an entity referred to as the Master. This entity expressed concern regarding humanity's use of nuclear weaponry, specifically citing the devastation wrought upon Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They expressed hope for humanity to desist from such destructive actions. This account from Admiral Byrd's diary holds significance for UFO researchers, especially considering the emergence of the modern UFO era post-World War II and the detonation of atomic bombs. Numerous UFO sightings near nuclear missile silos suggest a potential link between advanced beings and humanity's nuclear endeavors. The timeline surrounding the reported encounter with unidentified disc-shaped aircraft was swiftly followed by an abrupt halt to the crucial Operation High Jump. Task Force 68, comprising military personnel, found themselves unexpectedly stationed in Chilean ports after the mission's cancellation. A crew member, debriefed by the Pentagon on March 11, disclosed to the media a peculiar battle against these disc-shaped objects emerging from the sea. Strangely, all communication from the mission's leader, Byrd, ceased abruptly thereafter, leaving no further updates. Subsequently, in July of that year, numerous UFO sightings were reported in residential areas across the United States. Concurrently, rumors surfaced about the recovery of a disc-shaped object from a ranch near Roswell, New Mexico. This incident garnered considerable attention, evolving into an intriguing enigma for many. Scott Waring, from the ET database, reported an intriguing discovery during his virtual exploration of Antarctica using Google Maps. Amidst satellite imagery examination, he stumbled upon a photograph displaying an object partially submerged beneath snow and ice. Upon closer scrutiny, the object bore a resemblance to an alien spacecraft, featuring a metallic-like body, a triangular structure, and a noticeable midsection hump. These findings have sparked speculation about the potential presence of extraterrestrial beings on Earth, potentially spanning centuries or even millennia. The concept that alien life forms might have visited our planet and left traces of their encounters is both enthralling and contemplative, infusing a sense of enigma into the unfolding narrative. The quest for answers persists as researchers and enthusiasts delve deeper into this mysterious revelation, unveiling governmental cover-ups in Antarctica. Upon returning to the United States, Byrd faced intense questioning regarding his assertions. However, the government swiftly quashed the information, painting him as an individual prone to fabricating stories. It is believed that upon his re-entry into the U.S., Byrd underwent extensive interrogation regarding his statements and purportedly received instructions to remain silent on the matter. The mystery deepens as we ponder the government's motivation behind stifling Byrd's revelations. What could prompt such an effort to silence him? Why dismiss his extraordinary accounts? Delving into this intricate and speculative matter, let's explore potential reasons or interests that may have compelled the government to suppress Byrd's narrative of an underground world in Antarctica. There are a few potential reasons behind the government's efforts to suppress Byrd's remarkable claim of an underground world in Antarctica. One of these motives could stem from concerns related to national security. If Byrd's assertions held truth, it would imply the existence of an unseen civilization or territory unbeknownst to the global community. The nature and intentions of this clandestine society could pose either a threat or an opportunity for the U.S. and other nations. The government might opt to keep this information under wraps to avoid potential conflicts or competition with other countries. Additionally, they might aim to explore and capitalize on the resources and technology harbored within the underground world for their advantage. There's even speculation that Byrd's expedition was part of a classified military operation called Operation High Jump, intending to establish a U.S. base in Antarctica and investigate potential Nazi activity. Another conceivable motive revolves around economic interests. Antarctica, a vast and resource-rich continent, has been subject to territorial claims and disputes among several nations. Although the Antarctic Treaty System established it as a zone of peace and cooperation, prohibiting military or commercial activities, some countries express interest in exploiting its natural resources like oil, gas, minerals, and fisheries. If Byrd's claim were valid, it would indicate an extensive unexplored area within Antarctica, potentially containing valuable resources or developmental prospects. The government might choose to keep this knowledge clandestine to evade legal or ethical issues and gain an edge over other nations in accessing and controlling this underground domain. The government could also be motivated by concerns about public opinion. Byrd, a renowned explorer with significant public influence, presented a sensational and controversial claim. This could significantly impact public perceptions regarding exploration, science, and the government's credibility. Suppressing Byrd's claim might be an attempt to avoid public outcry, confusion, or curiosity, or to uphold their credibility and authority. Some argue that Byrd's claim was a hoax or a publicity stunt, suggesting government involvement in covering it up or disseminating misinformation. Moreover, there might be a motive related to scientific credibility. Byrd's assertion of an underground world in Antarctica contradicted established scientific knowledge about Earth's geology and biology. The government might wish to suppress his claim to safeguard the scientific community's reputation and prevent false or misleading assertions from impeding scientific progress. Despite challenges to Byrd's claim based on navigational errors, lack of evidence, or inconsistencies with physical laws, the experiences of subsequent explorers like Brian seemed to echo Byrd's observations. However, both encounters faced government indifference. Could it be that there are indeed secrets concealed by governments about the icy enigma of Antarctica? Thanks for watching. Well, see you in the next video.
I'd like to introduce Eric Hecker. He's a Raytheon contractor based for about a year at the South Pole.
He was involved in a neutrino light array. He has an enormous amount of information, but in the interest of time, we'll be brief. Thank you, Mr. Hecker.
Hello, everybody. Ladies, gentlemen, members of the press. I'm very happy that you're giving me this attention and this information attention because it needs to get out to the world. I will start, since we have to be brief. I have already given all pertinent information and supporting documentation to the Senate Intelligence Committee and AARO. They informed me that all of my information will be recorded for public record and shared with Congress. It is that important. In 2010, I was selected to go down to the South Pole Station in Antarctica for an entire year by Raytheon Polar Services as an employee of a third-party contractor for the National Science Foundation. I function in a dual-role capacity as a tradesman and a firefighter. My responsibilities required me to be more informed than most of my crew and offered me complete access to the facilities. What I learned from this unique experience needs to be shared with the entire world. The technology at the South Pole Station certainly can do what it is presented as its primary purposes, and unfortunately, much more. The IceCube neutrino detector is presented as a passive listening device for the purposes of the science as presented. But I'm going to skip right through the chase, folks. I have provided documentation that proves that the 5,160, what they call DOMs, that are embedded in the ice can actually transmit at 2,047 volts each. That gives us a long list of things to consider. It is effectively a multifaceted directed energy weapons platform that I will list rapidly a few things that it can do. Vehicle detection. We're learning that these off-world craft, on-world craft, ours or other nations, are also emitting neutrinos. So this makes the South Pole Station effectively an air traffic control station for this new level of equipment that nobody's discussing. In addition to the ability to detect neutrinos and the exotic vehicles, I have provided documentation that shows that this is also a system for faster-than-light communications. In the past, Gary McKinnon has hacked NASA, found the off-world fleet, the list of captains, and it's apparent that if we have faster-than-light vehicles moving throughout the system, we're going to need faster-than-light communications. This is that facility. Unfortunately, I have other bad news. The season that I was there, 2010 to 2011, we converted from construction to operations and maintenance in both the elevated station and the detector array. Unfortunately, when they first fired it up, that was when we had the earthquakes in Christchurch, New Zealand. There was 2 incidental shots before they were able to target it correctly. This is an earthquake-generating device as well. This is the weapons of war that we have to deal with now and what Raytheon's hiding. There's an ELF system at the South Pole Station that when I arrived, I was told it was off, dismantled, and completely defunct. In my work, I will rapidly just tell you, I had to figure out the circuitry for certain other repairs, and I found that this system is in fact completely energized, up and running, and being utilized with the other systems for nefarious purposes as well. The Atmospheric Research Observatory is in what we call the clean air sector. I witnessed myself a very powerful green laser shooting out of the top of this facility into the cosmos. This, I believe, is a secondary form of long-range communications and or a defense system. I am not saying that we need to be scared of anything that's out there, but please understand the military-industrial complex is happy to invest all of your money in alleviating their fears. A question of power comes into play for all of these facilities that are present. I assure you, I knew what was going on, I knew the load demands of the facility, and all of these new items exceed the demand for the systems that I was presented. I am doing due diligence and research. I believe there is either a secondary power supply there that is either nuclear, that was there prior to the start of the Antarctic Treaty, which prohibits such things, and or that there is some sort of exotic power supply system there that just is not in the verbiage of the treaty, so it negates the responsibility to the parties involved.